This is Live with Miami's Community News, and I'm Michael Miller. Our guest today is Frank Calderon from the Miami-Dade Solid Waste Department. Frank, thanks so much for being here.
Thanks for having me, Michael.
All right, so we know that the kids are going to be out from school pretty soon, and we know one of the things kids like to do is they drive around getting in all sorts of idiot trouble and throwing stuff out the window. Mostly we call it littering. So what's the difference between the kid throwing a bag from the local grocery store or McDonald's or something, throwing it out the window, and a guy that says, I got all this stuff in my trunk and I'm going to dump it in the same place? Tell us the difference and what it means to them if they get caught.
Well, size, volume is part of it, although it's all, technically all, if you want to call it a spectrum, that falls under the Florida litter law. Typically, though, litter is considered maybe about a bag or less. Soda cup you're drinking that you're done with, or soda can, you throw it out. Gum wrapper, something as small as that, or fast food bag that's sitting in your car and you're like, what's this doing? You just throw it out the window type of thing, versus illegal dumping, which now you're talking, furniture, pieces of furniture, old appliances, stuff like that.
Frank, in the old days when there were a lot more people that were smoking, it was frequent that people would take their cigarette butt and flick it out their window.
Oh, yes.
So this is fire season right now. Mm-hmm. So that can be pretty dangerous for people to take that ember.
Yeah, if it's in a dry area, because now it's the rainy season usually starts about mid-May. Right now it's really dry, as you mentioned. Very easy for things to catch fire.
So two very impactful things in my life. When I was very young, I was in the back seat of the car my mother was driving, and I threw some garbage out the window. Cop pulls us over, and it was 60 years ago. And I said he didn't do it. He said it came out of the back window behind the driver. That's where you're sitting. Okay, I'm sorry, I won't do it again. So here I am 60 years later repeating that story about how sometimes those things last a long time. And then around the same time, Judge Deal took a whole bunch of us over to the jail house so we could see what it was like.
Scared straight.
I'll tell you what, those two things made a difference. The scared straight was a bigger deal. But so the point is that lots of times when law enforcement says, I don't want to pull that guy over for littering, it really can be pretty impactful for somebody. I don't want to go through that grief. But let's talk about if a homeowner or resident is driving around and they see this big pile of garbage, and it's not in front of somebody's house, it's in a public right of way, that you realize that somebody dumped it. What can somebody do?
Well, in that kind of situation, just call 311 to report it as illegal dumping. And we're talking after the fact. It's already, yes. The pile's already out there. Whoever put it there is long gone, so you have no idea. 311. If you see people actually doing it, don't confront them. Don't go up to them and tell them, hey, that's wrong, because you don't know how they might react. But you can call 911 if you see it in the act. But after the fact, 311 is the number to call.
And they might ask, can you take a picture so when the guy goes out, they know we're talking. You can do that.
That might help, yes.
And they also, that you can fill out a form online.
Yes.
Right? Or you can call.
We have our app also, and you have the phone, the picture taken with your phone would be very helpful with the app, for sure.
And so what is the county doing to try to slow down illegal dumpers?
There's a number of things. A couple of years ago, they increased the fines. I think like the lowest fine, and it's based on amount, and it's also based on whether you're commercial or not. If you're not considered commercial, and I don't remember what the limit of the amount is, but if you're in that category, the least possible fine is going to be about $250. Plus, I think there's a $10 fee, so $260. The fines can go up to about $2,500. That's one tool in the toolbox.
And so, is that the fine based upon the quantity of the garbage?
It's based on the quantity, and if it's considered commercial, you're up at the next tier no matter what, how small it is. If you're not considered commercial, if you don't have commercial markings on your vehicle, if it's like your regular old, pickup truck or whatever, you dump the stuff off of the back, and it's not a lot, then you're subject to that amount of fine.
So that surely a lot of people know that it's illegal, maybe they're not aware of the fines that are associated with. And what else is the county doing to try to slow down the dumping?
Oh, well, another thing is, you can also theoretically go to prison. You can get arrested. I don't know what the level of crime, but I looked it up once, and I think you're subject to as many as 4 years in prison if you get convicted and the judge throws a book at you type of situation.
Just the thought of going to jail for the night and your roommate's
Oh,
going, what'd
yeah.
you do? I don't know, throw a little couch over there. What?
Imagine that. Yeah.
I broke into a place. You got arrested for throwing
A couch out on the street. Yeah.
All right. So tell us about the cameras that are hidden throughout the county.
Yes, that's another tool that our enforcement folks have. We have hidden cameras in various locations. We have roving cameras, or mobile cameras that they can move, to look from location to location. Have some that are in fixed locations that are known for illegal dumping, and some that they can move around depending on the situation and the need.
Okay, we've discussed before about the couple twins up in the North Miami area. All right.
Yeah, somewhat recent case. It's been a little while, but yeah.
And they were there with a big truck, and they emptied the truck. It was like I'll call it a U-Haul truck.
It was a rental. Yeah, it was so that made it commercial. So that upped.
Right?
That's where you can get to being arrested.
Right. So these guys dumped it in a location, and it was being streamed live to the police.
Yes, we had video camera. One of our enforcement officers was on duty, whose job was just to sit there and monitor the live stream cameras we have in various locations. They watched it. They called dispatch. They called the police. Now the police didn't come and catch them while they were doing, but the police caught them a short distance away, so they didn't get away.
Can you imagine the brothers looking at each other? There's a cop behind us. I suppose they were going, "What do you think? Were you speeding?" No. Did they handcuff the guys?
I was not there to see it, but I'm 99% sure that
they
yes.
They took them to jail.
Yeah, they probably did. They did take them to jail. They got booked. They got processed. Pretty sure there's a mug shot. Yeah, the whole 9 yards.
So that spoiled their day. And so were there 3 or 2 people?
Well, the interesting thing is that there was a third brother, but the 2 twins were the ones that were caught. The third brother, I guess, was in his own car, and he managed to, it was much easier to see the rental vehicle, the rental truck, and much easier for the police to stop. The other, they don't know what happened with the other brother.
So the county is out there, and how people think they can do stuff and not be filmed in today's environment, because cameras are everywhere.
Yes.
I do want to thank the county for keeping 118th Avenue clean. All right. So congratulations. And
thanks.
If you've done nothing or everything, thank you very much for that. All right. And it gets pretty costly for the county to go pick up stuff, because you have the enforcement guy that's driving around, he sees a pile. Then they might, either he or some other people, go look through the trash to see if they can find, your something with your identity on it. And I love the story about the homeowner who paid somebody to do some work, and they dumped their stuff in the road. Can you tell us about that?
Yes, when that happens, this is a cautionary tale. If you're a homeowner, you have somebody doing work at your house, and they tell you that they're going to take the stuff away, make sure you have some type of receipt, invoice, something that shows that they indeed said that they would, that they indeed agreed to take the items away when they were done, and have that with you, because we have had situations in the past where we were able to identify that illegally dumped material came from a specific house. The enforcement officer went to the house. The person said, "Oh, I had a roof," or somebody that came to my house to do, handyman or whatever, that came to do some work in my house. And the enforcement officer's next question was, "Okay, do you have some kind of receipt or invoice to show it?" And they did. They had a receipt that showed yes, and that they paid to have the person to do the work. And it also said that they would take the stuff away and dispose of it properly. Well, they took it away. They just didn't dispose of it properly. So they went after the person that did the work rather than the homeowner.
If I remember right, there was a receipt to a fast food restaurant.
There was one case.
They went to the restaurant. They went to the time.
Yes, on the video.
And it was paid by credit card.
Yes.
And they traced it down and went to the people's house.
Yes.
Surprise, surprise.
Yes. That was one way that they caught people without. Well, they use cameras because they use the store camera, but they didn't use their own cameras.
Yep.
So, yeah.
So don't dump. That's at the end of the day. And so just as far as from a community point, so the enforcer sees it, he might investigate it himself or call the investigators. They spend some time doing that. Then they have to order somebody to come out and pick it up. big truck, maybe 2 or 3 guys. They're going to take it. They're going to put it in there, and they're going to dump it probably in the same place that the homeowner was going to dump it. So it gets pretty costly. All right. So in the south end, the one, as you know, the one I like is near FIU on 118th Avenue.
Yes.
And it's one of the TRCs. There's another one between Sunset and Kendall.
Yes, on 107th Avenue. And we have 13 total, and they're all over the place. We have some up north, some down south.
And so can we talk a little bit about home chemicals? People, and this is because hurricane season is coming up, and all those little sheds you have in the backyard that may not be there whenever it is. This is a good time to go ahead and start your end of
spring cleaning.
Yes, absolutely. All right. So if people got, like 20 different bottles with half stuff in them, what should they do with that cleaning material?
They can bring that to one of our home chemical collection centers. And now I should note, I want to say in May, I don't know if the news release has gone out yet or not. I think it might have already. We're going to have a series of mobile events that are going to take place at certain TRCs where you don't have to go all the way. If you live a long distance, and this happened to me last year when we started doing these, the first one we did was at Sunset Kendall TRC, which is, hop, skip, and a jump from my house. That's what I did. I had stuff that had been meaning to take to one of the home chemical collection centers at home, but I never had the chance because distance was a little bit of an issue. But this place opened up. We had this event. These are one-day events. They're going to be mostly Saturdays, but they're going to take place at different TRC locations, trash and recycling center locations that we have. And I don't know if the announcement has gone out yet or not, but we're close to announcing it. It's going to start in May, run through November. So if you can't go to one of the permanent home chemical collection centers, you may find that one of the TRCs is closer to your house.
And you promote that on Facebook?
We promote it on our social media. We have Facebook, we have Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, which is X now. It's called X now.
How long will we be saying X, formerly known as Twitter, or Twitter now X? It could go on for a half a generation, right? So hopefully we'll be around for the completion. So people, and if I remember last time, I think I remember seeing some videos at the event, which is very effective, right? So for people that haven't been to an event like that, try to describe it as best you can.
It's like going to one of our home chemical collection centers. You just go to a TRC instead. They'll usually have it off to the side because the TRCs are only open to our customers, but the home chemical program is open to all Miami-Dade residents, whether they get service from us or not. So if you get service from the city of Miami or the city of Hialeah, doesn't matter. You can come to one of the home chemical mobile events. The only thing, they are going to check your license, but only to make sure that you're a Miami-Dade resident. That's the only thing. But otherwise, you bring your stuff. There's no charge. Bring your home chemical materials that you might want to, that you have that's been sitting there and you want to get rid of.
Hey, Gerald, can we put up their website, miamidade.gov/solid
waste.
/solid waste. I'm getting better at that. All right, so on the website, people can go there and they can see all the different services that are offered.
Yes,
including they can see some videos up there.
Yes, we do have some videos.
And there are a lot of people with green thumbs who want to know a little bit more about recycling. So can we talk a little bit about that? Those are the ones that go in the garbage that goes
the
in
blue,
the
blue cart.
The blue cart.
Yeah.
So what can people put in there that there's no question about it?
Paper, cardboard, as long as it's clean. And we'll take pizza boxes now, which we used to not take pizza. As long as the pizza boxes are not too bad. A little bit of grease is fine. But if the pizza box is falling apart from grease, that means the pizza was probably really good. That does not go in the recycling. We'll take bottles, whether they're glass or plastic. We will take...
so all glass bottles can go in there?
Yes, we will take cartons. Bottles and jugs, right. Plastic and glass.
Single-use beverages can go in there.
Yes, cans,
right?
Aluminum cans, like soda cans, beer cans, food cans. Those can go in there as well.
Paper plates?
No, not paper plates.
Not paper plates.
Not paper plates. No.
Well, I get perplexed
because of the food.
Oh, good point. Oh, okay. How about the plastic colored glasses? They're made of the plastic.
No, there has to be a bottle.
It has to be a bottle.
As long as it's a bottle. Well, the difference is basically the neck is smaller than the rest of the body.
I'm sorry, a cup.
A narrow neck. A cup. Okay, no, not a cup, but but a bottle's fine. The exception now on the plastic is that we will accept yogurt tubs and butter tubs.
So if somebody has a question,
otherwise it has to be a bottle.
All right, if they get frustrated, say just put it If you don't
When
know,
in doubt, throw it out.
when in doubt, throw it out.
Throw it in the garbage.
So when people are recycling, they put it in there. The department actually removes it as best you can, so that the recycler gets a better product, or does it go?
No, it goes. They will try to remove what they can. Sometimes there's too much of it. They can't. The biggest culprit that we have is plastic bags. We tell people all the time, no plastic bags.
You get at the grocery store or drugstore.
Yes, or sometimes people put all their recyclables. They might be perfectly good stuff in a plastic bag and then put that inside the cart. That defeats the purpose. Unfortunately, they can't open it. They don't have the ability to do that at the facility where they process stuff. You can keep it in your house in a plastic bag, but then empty it out into the cart.
So what percentage of stuff that goes into the blue cart for recycling is actually not recyclable, more or less?
The last study that we did, we found about 40% of the materials we receive are not recyclable.
So here's my uninitiated stuff, folks. 40% of the time you think it's recyclable, it's not, all right? Because that's the figure, right?
Yeah.
And so when in doubt, just throw it out and put it into the green cart. Green carts are picked up twice a week.
Yes.
Most homes have one.
Yes.
And here's a number that continues to amaze me. How many pickups does the county do a week of the green carts?
Well, we have roughly 340,000 customers where we pick up the garbage and recycling, but garbage, and they're picked up twice a week. So you do the math there. It's 680. 680, almost 700,000, but 680,000 to be exact.
And almost all are one stop. I mean, one pickup.
Yes.
Is that like 70% or 60? Do you have any idea? I just have one can. In my neighborhood, we all have 2 to 5.
I don't know. From my understanding, it's a very low number. So it may be closer to 90, 95.
Okay, so it's for sure 700. For sure, about 700,000 of those stops
actions, yes,
are 1 or 2. If one of them or both of their cans are broken, what should they do?
They can call 311, whether it's a recycling cart or the blue recycling cart or the green waste cart. They can call 311. We have a crew of people dedicated to nothing but replacing or repairing the carts. If they can repair it on the spot, they will. If not, they'll just replace it out, and they'll take the scavenged parts, the parts that are still good from the old cart, and use them to repair another cart.
And for those that somewhat need some more initiation, like myself, I like going on to websites that I know are really good, so I can say, let's go find it, let's get it done, because it's going to help in a lot of stuff. I've used this site, not frequently, but frequently enough to know, okay, now I'm getting used to where to go. So they could go on and also report that, right?
I believe with the carts, I believe they can, yes.
And for sure on bulky waste pickup,
yes.
This is May, our hurricane season starts pretty soon.
Mm-hmm.
The need for bulky waste pickup, which is the big trash piles outside, the demand is going to increase.
Yes.
Probably weekly or monthly.
And the demand will shoot through the roof the minute anything looks like it might come our way.
So people need to go either call 311 or go to miamidade.gov solid waste, and you can book your own. And it's really intriguing to see what kind of work that the programmers did. Have a picture of a house, and they say, where will your garbage be? Number 1 spot, number 2, and number 3, and you fill it out. And it will also tell you how many pickups you have left for the year, and they can get 2 pickups a year totaling 50 yards.
50 cubic yards total, yeah.
And from what I understand, a washing machine is about a yard.
Cubic yard, yeah,
cubic
roughly.
Yard, right? And so if they put out the garbage there after they get an appointment, there's no problem, and they're not going to get a ticket for that. And if they're wondering the size of the garbage they have, they can sort of like look at a washing machine and say, how much is out there? If somebody has 50 yards left, which means they didn't do any pickups, if they have 35 yards, it's as if it was 50.
Yeah, they're not going to come back for 15 cubic yards. But they'll do each pickup. You're allowed a maximum of 25 cubic yards. You can combine, if you have more than 25 cubic yards, combine the 2 pickups so that you don't get charged any extra. But if you don't make it to 50, they're not going to give you the remaining cubic yards.
Right. My experience with bulky waste pickup has been magnificent. And as I sat there, I happened to be going home.
Happy to hear that.
I was happy to be going. I was going home right outside my house, and the trucks were there. And I just sat back and I just watched it. It was a miracle that they had these big lifts and ever so careful. All right. And it was great. They had one guy in the truck, at least one guy in the ground. It was great. When they left, it was perfect. And on the day, they said they were going to pick up. So it was really very clever. My hat's off to the people to be able to do that. So we know that the county has it right now, one all-electric garbage truck. It's based in the Doral area.
Yes.
All right. And has the county announced any new all-electric vehicles in the trash arena?
Well, for waste pickup, no. I think some of some of the supervisors get pickup trucks to go out in the field, and I think some of them may have electric more recently. But as far as waste collection vehicles, not that I'm aware of, no.
All right. And for people that wonder what happens to the trash after it's in that big white truck, whether it's electric or not, and that hold over 1,000 garbage cans, right?
Roughly.
Which is amazing. All right.
Well, no, actually, remember that about halfway through their shift, so about 500 to 600 roughly.
All right. And they go out for the rest of the day, and they have over 1,000 pickups
in total. Yeah.
So what happens to that garbage other than it's not outside our home anymore? Because that's the way a lot of us look at it. Oh, good, they were here and it's gone. What happens?
Well, eventually now most of it ends up at a landfill. Either one of our landfills, or we have contracts with a couple of the large waste management companies to take it to their landfill so that we can, maintain some capacity in our system for future usage. So yeah, eventually that's where it ends up going.
Okay, so we know that we call it the South. What do we call it? Mount Trashmore down south.
South Dade landfill and the North Dade landfill.
I'm sorry, folks. South Dade landfill. All right.
Yes.
And it's really a sight to be seen. It's this huge thing with bulldozers on the top of it, and the seagulls flying all around, and so there is life after trash for a little bit of that. And then you have some up north in Broward and in the middle of the state. So tell us a little bit about yourself. We've got about 5 minutes left. How long you've been with the department and why you chose to go to work for Miami-Dade County?
I've been with Solid Waste Department since 2009. I've been with the county in general since the year 2000. I started at Water and Sewer, and I was there. There was a 1 year interruption in that the time I was there where I went to work for the communications department and actually helped out for the 2004 election. They wanted me to help provide support for that because that was it was a big one, presidential, and at the time there was a bit of a history with elections, and they wanted anticipated a lot of media interest. I saw the opportunity in 2000, and I was intrigued by it. At the time I was working 2 jobs actually. I was working at Radio Paz, the Spanish Catholic radio station in town. And I was also working in media relations at Miami-Dade College. That was a part-time job at the time. And I saw the opening. I applied for a couple of different positions, but that one in particular, the interesting thing was that right at the time that I was being interviewed, and when I kind of expected, and they asked me to come in for a second interview, and I kind of thought I had a good chance. They had a huge sewage main break on Miami Beach. And I said, "Oh, they're going to be busy for a while." And yes, I didn't get called for like a month or so after that happened. But yeah.
Okay, so you have lots of experience being behind a microphone, and congratulations on that. It's nice to see you continuing on with us. We look forward to seeing Michael Moot, who works for the Department of Mosquito Control.
On the mosquito control, yes.
And then also,
I got to get Jean Marie here.
Jean Marie
for recycling.
Massa?
Yes.
And she's the recycling manager.
Yes.
And she comes over with all that stuff, all clean stuff. And it's always cheerful with her. She's got a great personality. And I can see her going out to the schools and teaching the little kids as they need to. Frank Calderon, thank you very much for being here.
Thank you for having me, Michael.
And we'll see you next week. Folks, thanks for joining us. Remember, take care of yourself.